Good morning, everyone. This is Biz Chicks TV. This is the place where you can find tips and tools to help you do business better. We're here to help you run a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle. And today is Friday, so we are here with the Tech Divas with Tech Life Weekly. And we're here talking tech in English with my good friend and partner, Miss Francine Gregory, real estate entrepreneur and tech diva. And I'm Terralina from California Cover Ups, and we're the Biz Chicks. We'll be joined later by TJ, all the way from New York City, and hopefully Dr. Tachi from Florida, who'll be talking media. And TJ will be talking social media and marketing. So, with that, we want to get this party started. We want you to know we're on location today here at the Workflow Lounge in Sacramento, California. So, I'm going to let Fran tell you a little bit about why we're off site and give you the weekly news and tech. There you go.
Okay, so we are doing a weekend discovery workshop, and our first session is today. And so we are on location, and that's why we're here. And we're at the wonderful Workflow Lounge. If you are in the Sacramento area and you need workspace, you need to come here. If you need a meeting space, you need to come here. That's the Workflow Lounge. Angela and her team will take really, really good care of you. And let's just make that happen. Okay, so TJ will be in here in just a second. She'll pop through. And Alfredo and Pat, welcome to the live, and everybody watching the replay. And Alfredo is saying he's building his Facebook live page. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Good job, sir. Okay, so this week in tech, the very first story. Let me see. Oh, I can put it over here and it's not in the way. Okay. The very first story, February 4th, 2004, Facebook is born. Mark Zuckerberg launches the Facebook, which later becomes Facebook. The world changes forever and we like it. Get it? Likes. Okay.
Thumbs up.
Right. So February 4th, 2004. That was 14, how many years ago?
15 years ago? 19, 16, going on 16 years ago?
Come on. Facebook, 16?
Well,
man, so anyways, Facebook is 16 years old. February 5th, 1952, the first Don't Walk sign was installed in New York City. The installation of this sign was inspired by the growing number of deaths resulting from pedestrian accidents. People walking out in front of just walking out in front of stuff like, put your phone down while you're walking across the street. Safety tip. Don't be walking across the street. Put the phone in your pocket and walk across the street. Stop texting and walking. February 5th, 1971, Apollo 14 lands on the moon. TJ, you can come on in whenever you're ready. Apollo 14 lands on the moon. The third U.S. manned moon expedition lands near Fra Mauro. Alan Shepard, Edward Mitchell walk on the moon for 4 hours. Interesting. TJ, what do you got to say about Facebook's birthday almost?
Well, we have a love-hate relationship with Facebook.
Okay, so shall we? Okay, let me finish my story.
Yeah, let's do. That's why I was gonna let you guys do the tech history first.
Hey, Jay,
you tickled, Terry? You tickled. Terry is tickled.
Yes.
Okay.
February 5th, 1999, Victoria's Secret holds their first annual online fashion show. The event attracts 1.5 million visitors. While the technology was nowhere near as advanced as it is today, it was considered the first major successful webcast. So y'all can go live too. It's okay.
Hey, Jay, how you doing?
February 6, 1971, the first golf ball hit on the moon. Apollo 14 astronaut Alan Shepard hits the first golf ball on the moon. He used a 6-iron attached to a sample collection tool. Okay, why that was okay.
Why that was significant, we don't know. Okay.
February 6, 1986, the Woz leaves Apple. Steve Wozniak, the co-founder of Apple Computer, decides to leave to pursue other interests.
Oh, no, not the web.
Reportedly, he was unhappy that the company was devoting most of its resources to the Macintosh at the expense of Apple II.
Oh.
He remained a shareholder on the board and eventually came back as an advisor when Jill Amelio became CEO. He makes sporadic appearances at Apple events, but still does not perform any official capacity at Apple. Just having stock is okay.
I think he's okay.
Yeah, I think so. Hi, Dr. Tachi.
Hey, Judge.
I think just the fact that he's a stockholder makes he's gonna be all right.
He'll be all right.
Yeah, he good. He good.
Yeah, we all good.
We need to give Steve a call.
February 6, 1998, the V90 modem standard is announced and agreed upon. This ended a couple of years of customer confusion as two competing 56K modem protocols, K56 Flex and X2, were in common use at the time. The V standard unified the protocols and was crafted specifically to allow both types of modems to be upgraded via firmware. Okay, so this has nothing to do with us today. But 56K was real fast back in the day.
We were happy to have you. Y'all stop hating on beginnings, small beginnings.
Well, look, when I had 56K, I thought I was like, oh, well, I have 56K, so I can load AOL in, 1 minute. I thought I was something.
That's it. I'm just saying.
Okay, February 7th, 1958, the Dutch car DAF 600 is introduced at the Amsterdam Motor Show. It would have been an altogether unremarkable car, except for the fact that it was one of the first cars to offer an automatic transmission at an affordable price.
Okay, I'm not hating on that.
In 1958. February 7th, 1984, astronauts Bruce McCandless II and Robert L. Stewart make the first untethered spacewalk using the Manned Maneuvering Unit. They became the first human Earth. McCandless became the first human Earth orbiting satellite, venturing out 320 feet from the orbiter. Okay. My feelings on Mars.
We know how to feel about
it. You don't want to go?
She's rooted and grounded right here.
Some other people can go.
Oh, I have their ticket.
Send me a postcard.
Some other people need to go. That's my point. Some other people.
Other people. TJ said other people need to go.
Oh, you're going to ship some people out? Are you willing to? You're going to scholarship some people to the.
I have a list of people that need to go.
Okay.
And you know every name on the list.
Okay.
Okay. So we are going to, what do you call that? Export some people.
Okay. That wouldn't be
yes.
Export. Okay. February 7th, 2003, after losing a chess match to the computer Deep Blue in 1997, world chess champion Garry Kasparov and the computer Deep Jr. battled to a draw. Okay. That's your week in tech history. Okay. So you got any tech news?
I am not getting this party started because I can't stay.
Yes, we can't stay very long.
I do want to say one thing.
Okay.
Okay.
Heck.
All
I want to say is this whole thing about, starting the birthday with Facebook. Facebook, I'm not mad at you. We're on you right now. Please don't cut us off because the date for me is not over with you. Okay. I'm not breaking up with you.
Don't cut us off. Okay.
Now I'm going to turn you over to the haters. Okay.
Oh, God. Did she just throw us under a bus and roll over us?
I just want you to know, I like
She
Facebook.
threw us under the bus and rolled
And
over us.
But I just want you to know, I'm still on my day with Facebook. I don't know about y'all.
I'll let Jay have the word. Jay, thank you, Jay. Everyone has a love-hate relationship with Facebook.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Jay.
Carolina said, that's her with us.
You know what I'm saying?
We got skid marks. And
I'm like,
everything.
look, I'm still on the state. Don't put me out the car, please.
We have skid marks.
See, I see how you are now. It's like you want every person for themselves. I see.
Maybe we need to get Terry a ticket tomorrow?
Yeah, is she on your list? TJ?
No, she's not on the list.
Oh my
I'm
God.
gonna be nice. Terry not on the list.
Is there room? I'm kidding.
The troublemakers are on the list.
Okay, TJ, you get to have the floor. And if we cut out, it's because we have to. We got a work going on this morning. But
Okay. What can I want to talk a little bit about what was said in the tech news about Victoria's Secret. If everybody doesn't know, that brand has like crashed and burned and what?
Do tell.
Oh, yeah, it's been all over the news. They want the CEO to step down, some older gentleman.
Yeah, that was
because the model signed the letter. And wait a minute, I had the story here to bring it up.
Something about
they
Me
signed a
Too.
letter about harassment. Me Too. Hold on, I had it here. Where'd it go? I got so many. Oh, here it is. Model signed letter to Victoria's Secret CEO over reported culture of misogyny and abuse. So the New York Times did an expose on the corporate culture behind the brand, and they had over 100 models sign this list saying that they want the CEO John Mayhaus to leave. And also the brand itself has been in decline for a while. I believe that's why they didn't have the show. They usually have a angel show or the models wear. They're not having it. There's no interest in that anymore because of the Me Too culture, and things are changing with millennials and Gen Z. So they're not into that.
You know, underwear. I mean, they're buying the product.
They buy the product, but they don't want to be on display. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Absolutely. And you know, the thing is, the brand is also not inclusive. And we look at this climate that we're in now, it's inclusivity. The world is not homogenous, and I don't know who told them it is. And so, you know, there have been changes on their runways for a while in terms of ethnicity, but body shape, no. So in walks Rihanna Fenty by Savage, and she's got every color. She's got stuff for melanated women. She's got different sizes, things Victoria's Secret did not give two damns about. And she's Rihanna. So she's got the star power of Rihanna behind her name. Plus, she's making an inclusive line. That was all that women needed to hear. By Victoria's Secret.
She read the room. And that's all you needed to do. So that's why I'm saying Victoria's Secret was a big brand 10, 15 years ago. Not so now, because Dr. Taji rightly says about Rihanna, read the room and was like, oh, there's a way for me to get in there, because you see the culture shifting, you see attitudes shifting about this type of product. So she read the room and said, I'm in there.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I just wanted to bring it up because we were mentioning about Victoria's Secret and the tech news, something about them. So it just triggered me. I was like, okay. All right.
Absolutely.
Well,
and there we go.
I forgot about that, Terry. Thank you for reminding me.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at it. I was looking at it from the brand decline, because you know there's been talk about it on the financial news, and then they brought this. I heard about the letter, and then of course Dr. Tachi is right about they don't want to be inclusive. They didn't want to have plus size models or regular size women, and they fought back. And it comes to be that I think the CEO said something about, oh, nobody wants to see that type of body. So, but he didn't say that at night. He didn't say it as nice as I said it. He said,
Yeah, I
Oh.
hear you.
so that's why I called him
goodness.
an older gentleman, over 70. Nothing with, if you got a
Just-
youthful mind, you're going to survive.
Just
If you don't have that
just
kind of
stop.
mind, you're not going to survive. So he's not surviving.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He didn't read the room. He didn't see what's
And
coming.
maybe that's why they broke off Pink, because Pink is a whole nother
Brand.
thing right now.
Tried it, yeah.
Pink is like, okay, so in our mall here, there
Mhm.
was Victoria's Secret, and then all of a sudden Pink was like over
That
here
was their
on this
youthful.
side. We're
Yeah,
not-
they were trying
we're
to
not part of
capture.
them anymore.
Yeah, they were trying to capture, younger
Correct.
millennial, Gen Z, college. It was a
mhm.
collegiate kind of brand. That still didn't work.
Right. No, and they love Pink, but
Mhm.
there are so many other brands like that competed. So you look at Abercrombie, you
Mhm.
look at Hollister, you look at
Yes.
these other brands that are in direct competition, and it's like, how do you carve out a space when there's so much quote noise in that space, and you're not necessarily markedly different? Besides, your name is Victoria's Secret. If you look at some of the pieces,
Well,
Mhm.
here's the thing
Right.
too. I'm looking at because we're talking about marketing and branding. I'm looking at Lane Bryant, and
Mhm.
they really had a corner on the market and a niche. And I don't know if they're really taking advantage of it and really, promoting.
Okay, but see, the Lane Bryant is for like
Certain age.
I'm just saying, because
But-
they haven't gone after the younger market.
Mm,
They haven't done it.
You know what
They
I
don't
mean?
know.
They
I don't think they know how. This is the deal with a lot of these brands, Victoria's Secret included. When you have old, the experience is great, but when you have CEOs like that don't read the room or talk to their great grandchildren, or keep a youthful mind and look at the trends, they are going to fall behind. So,
case in point, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No.
Yeah,
Case in point, there was I was watching the whatever one of these shows this morning, and they were talking about Ralph Lauren did a line, and you probably heard about this, where it was not a line, but a pair of pants, like cargo pants, that had a bastardized version of the Masons symbol on it, and also Phi Beta Sigma. Now, for those of you who don't know, yeah, let me tell you, Charakangwagi, okay, as my mother would say.
Z5, go ahead.
Go ahead.
So, yes, exactly. So I knew this would hit a nerve. So they had they actually had the Greek letters Phi Beta Sigma, and they said on the show, this is what happens when you don't have a Jamal the intern in the room. Okay,
Exactly.
So case in point to what you're saying. So if they had somebody on their team that would say, you can't do that. First of all, those symbols are trademarked. Second of all, do you know anything about the Divine Nine and the original 9 Black organizations that really helped to move social movements forward in this country? No. And see, the problem is, this is the thing, same key thing with Victoria's Secret. They don't have to know, or they think they don't have to know until they get in trouble, or until somebody calls them on it, or until they start losing money. So consequently, Ralph Lauren has apologized, and they've pulled all those pants off of the market. But what a damn expensive lesson to learn. Had you just looked at, you know what, we need to check and see if there really is a Phi Beta Sigma. Why you don't know, I don't know, but we need to check and see and make sure that the letters are not trademarked. And now you got it. You could have Googled that. It would have been, they are Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated since 1914. Since 1914, they've been incorporated.
Celebrated a centennial. I mean, it's not like they just got over here 5 seconds ago.
And Angela Lofton Moore, whose lovely space we are in today, she said they did it on purpose.
Wow.
I believe it. Because listen, a marketing campaign costs money to get advertising, whatever. So they could say, hey, let's make these pants, and we kind of know someone's going to complain, and we want that complaint, and then they get in the news, and then they get to go on Today's Show or whatever show they were on to explain their side and get.
Didn't they do the thing with the monkey? Didn't they have a thing
that
with
was
H&M?
Prada? Was it
Who
no?
was that?
There was Gucci, there was
Gucci.
H&M. Yeah, there was Gucci.
Gucci.
With the shirt. But here's the thing. I don't think it was purposely done, and not to take us too far off track. I don't necessarily think this was purposely done. I just think that these people are in such a bubble. They don't pay attention to things. Case in point, I had a personal experience. I periodically work with a dance company called Live in Color. Now, if you know their name, that's because they were competitors on America's Best Dance Crew. So at the time, I was working and trying to help them put stuff together. So I was working with the creator and producer of the show. And so I noticed that on one of the days that they were, competing, they were like, Live in Color. I noticed they had on gold and royal blue. Fine. But what I also noticed is that one of the dancers had on a sweatshirt that said Sigma Gamma, and they had cut off the rho. It was Sigma Gamma Rho. My mouth dropped. Now, here's the dance company on national TV, and these are trademark symbols. The fact that you cut off the bottom, we know it's Sigma Gamma Rho. I immediately called the producer. I said, there's a problem. You put a male in a sorority sweatshirt, a sorority that is trademarked, and he's not a member of the sorority. This is a problem. Right. But when you don't have diverse voices in the room, this is the problem.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
And I'm noticing this with the rollout for Black History Month in a lot of stores. That one store was really late. They didn't even make Martin Luther King's birthday to put the stuff out there. There's been no marketing to tell people it's in the stores, and the designs have some other designs in there that are not compatible with the celebration of the month, and they've already discounted the product. And what is this, February 6th?
It hadn't been a full week yet.
Yes, and they're talking about it's failed, and people don't even know it's there. So I'm just saying to you that, this is what happens when we don't have diversity, and when people decide, the people who are going to decide the designs are not diverse. Because like you said, there's nobody in the room to say, whoa, hold up, wait a minute. You can't do red and white and put that little symbol on there, because there's some, you need a license, and B, you need an agreement with the organization.
And you're right, they're not in the room. That's why I don't know if Spike Lee's advertising company is still in play, but that's why he started his company, I'm thinking maybe 15 years ago or so, because there weren't any people who could say, wait a minute, that's not a good idea because of XYZ. So if they're not in the room to stop it, it goes through as a good idea by consensus, and they're like, yeah, this is a good idea, and they put it out and they get egg on faces like the Pepsi thing, and we could go down the list of all of the ads.
It must be nice to just be able to be and not take people's feelings into consideration.
They don't do that.
Isn't that nice? Oh,
they don't do that. And I've been in the spaces where the CEO of the advertising companies and all of the people, I've been in the meetings, and the attitudes is they don't want to know, they don't care, and they have the wherewithal to find the information. Like Taji said, Google. They don't want to do that. They want to do what they want to do because the studies say this and that, and there's no one in the room to make the decision to say, okay, rethink that, and they just go with it.
May I add a silver lining to this?
Great comment here.
And Mark said Mark said as if they are in the room, it's an environment where their voices are actually, isn't an environment where their voices are actually heard.
What did you say, Jamal?
Authority on everything connected with that group.
Correct.
No. So, you've been there. You've been the only one at the table.
I have to look it up. I'm not sure. I know Spike Lee had an advertising agency. I don't know if it's still in play. I want to look it up.
I'm not sure if it is.
I don't think it is either, because I haven't heard. But this was a while ago. I'm trying to say, like, but he made it specifically for that. He was like, because there's no diversity and it's true. There's no diversity.
That's true. I don't know that he was the person to do it. He's not an advertiser. He's a filmmaker. So, that's a problem. It's one thing to try and do things, but I think stay in your lane. No disrespect, but,
I don't know if he was
making
decisions. I think he just started one and put some people in play who background wasn't advertising.
I'm sure, but he still doesn't know. So when you don't have a good grade, you try.
That is not his wiring.
No, he tried.
That's not your call.
That's why I don't think it's still in play, but it was a good effort. It didn't work. And I'm just saying that I've been in there and the faces are few and far between.
May I add a silver lining to this? So since we're talking about the whole fashion thing and Victoria's Secret, there is a bright spot that actually came up this week. If you are familiar with now why am I forgetting her name? It is Ruth Carter. So Ruth Carter is an Oscar award and winning costume designer. And she's been in the game for the longest time. She did the costumes for Black Panther. She's done them for, oh my gosh, she's done so many. She's done all of she got into the game because of Spike Lee. Speaking of Spike Lee, so she's done a lot of the costume design for a lot of the Spike Lee films, including Malcolm X. And so she actually has teamed up with H&M, and she has a line coming out at H&M called Ruthless. So I was so happy to see that, and because I actually got the opportunity to interview her at ABFF, the American Black Film Festival, about 4 years ago, and that was at the time when she was just wrapping up the movie about the Supreme Court Justice. Help me, Marshall, right? So she did the costume design for Marshall. They were just wrapping up, and that Monday they were getting ready to start designing for Black Panther. So I got her just before she started designing for Black Panther. And so I'm really happy for her. So there's a bright spot in terms of fashion and stuff that she's got a line coming out at H&M.
I have to mention Mark, because Mark is out, he's out. He's a comedian. I'm going to start an ad agency for representation in white male voice that isn't seen or heard.
You're right. You are so right.
It's so needed.
Mark.
What would we do without you, Mark?
I just had to bring that up.
Mark is funny.
I'm waiting for his Netflix special.
Yeah. I will watch Mark on Netflix.
Instagram Live, something, Mark. We're waiting.
We need you.
We gotta tell you.
Did you hear that, Mark? You got fans already.
YouTube, Vimeo, Instagram, Facebook.
I'm a huge fan. I am what they call a stan for Mark Ward. I'm a Mark Ward stan, so I'm waiting, Mark.
Ooh. There you go, Mark. There you go.
Okay.
Okay, I just wanted to bring that up. Talk about it.
Comments?
Yeah, we got a couple of other comments over here. From Periscope, we got Preacher's Kids. He says the status quo mind is a surefire way to become obsolete.
There you go.
Preach, teach, reach, and church. Yes. Yes.
So let's see. I think we got all of the other ones, unless I'm not seeing stuff. And I was going to say it won't let me move.
We'll move.
Yeah. So anyway, it was just interesting. The tech news is very interesting. I had a very interesting conversation with the Uber driver yesterday. And he was like, I was not one of the ones who went for AB5.
See, I don't think AB5 was polled amongst the drivers.
I don't,
because as a former driver, I wouldn't have voted for it. And it's putting a lot of food on a lot of tables without a lot of complications.
That's exactly what he said. I'm doing this because I'm putting food on my table and whatever. And I said, well, I don't know. What do you think is going to happen? And he was like, perhaps maybe it would have been good if everybody who was squealing wanted health care or whatever, they just take 50 cents out of everything and put it towards your health care, but not change the whole
what do you call that recipe?
They just flipped the cake and just decided they just going to tear it all apart. So now we got workman's comp that the state of California is going to get, and they got all this other stuff.
Plus you got to report your wages, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, it's going to be real complicated.
And it's
they allowed the government to get his hands in.
Yeah, because California also does state disability, so you're paying that out.
So when you get home and you look at your check, at least you could have kept some of the stuff and decided when you wanted to pay it or whatever. But now, if the state takes the Social Security, they take the unemployment and all of this
and
other
state
stuff. Now you're
disability.
not going to get what you thought you was going to get because you wanted to be an employee.
And the other thing is that the company pays a portion. You know that, Terry, that the company pays a portion of unemployment and it pays into workers' comp in case, well, you know, there's always one who claims that they hurt themselves on your dime. So now everybody has to go down that road and pay. Even though they were hurt on the real job that didn't pay. You see what I'm just saying, having been a former investigator and and worked for the Human Relations Commission as the housing director, I'm just saying to you, stuff happens and you just gotta investigate.
And if me as a driver, I would not have minded them taking out something for healthcare and set aside something for something else, but don't change the entire
having a pot of money.
Don't change the entire thing.
Business model.
Yes, because now we have to. Okay, so here's the thing. The drivers told me, he said, Uber and Lyft are no longer welcome on Market Street in San Francisco. That is major. Market Street in San Francisco is major. The taxis have access to Market Street, but not the Uber and not the Lyft. I was like,
interesting.
Wow.
I got to walk all the way around the corner.
I was about to say, so you have to like walk around the block to catch.
That's crazy.
And Market Street is like the hub of San Francisco in the business district.
And there's a lot of wonderfulness going on the next street over. Okay.
Wow.
So is it really safe?
Wow.
Because it's in the Mission District. So now you got, I'm just saying, it gets interesting depending on what street you're waiting for transportation on.
Okay. Mark is over there with more comments.
Yes, we have some more. Go ahead and put them up, TJ. Please.
Okay. Mark says, I just entered my fingers while typing my response. Where do I file? And got it?
Inbox me. I'll help you with that.
Oh my God.
And Angela says, we teach people to become their own company in order to avoid becoming an employee for gig services.
Yes. Yes. Entrepreneurship.
And then Brenna. Hi, Brenna. She says, that's horrible. Brenna. Maybe they can go with Waze Drive. That's what she said.
Look, I just like, and they're it's almost like they want to force you. Okay, because I'm doing side note. I got off the plane and went to get an Uber from the airport. Now I hadn't flown in a while, so I didn't know what the deal was. So I'm getting off. You got to go across the street, down the thing, and around to the other side. But the taxis are parked like right there. Wow. I was like, I'm not taking you. I'm not paying you $100 to go home. So there was a bunch of us. We were all walking in a little group, going around we're in a maze trying to get over to where the Uber and Lyft pick up.
Wow.
See, what they don't realize is you're not going to deter us from doing what we want to save money. So you think the fact that you put it in terminal XYZ and I'm in terminal A is going to stop me? I will hop my behind right on the shuttle and get to the terminal I need to take Uber or Lyft. How very dare that? I mean, it's all strategic. And so my thing is like, this would not have happened. This was a solution to a problem, a transportation problem. Yes. So you would rather keep it a monopoly where the taxi companies could charge whatever they like than to have it fair for the people. So we made a solution, or companies made a solution, and now you're mad, and now you're trying to mess with it. Be better. That's the bottom line. If you are better and you serve better,
and here in New York, here in New York, they're talking about wanting the mayor to bail out the taxi drivers who spent like $1 million and up on their medallion that's not worth $1 million. So they want $500 million bailout. I'm like, nope.
No, you should have acted right when you had time. You wanted not to pick up certain people. You wanted to lambast and abuse when you did get in the cab. You wanted to do all that. Fine. Keep your medallion. I'm going to ride Lyft.
Okay, so let me tell you the story of the guy the Uber told me, the other story he told me. He said, you think that the cabbies are background checked. He said, no, the Uber and the Lyft people have a very stringent background check. The guy said, so, hey, how can you get me in? The cabbie said to him, a cabbie said to him, how can you get me on with Uber? He said, what do you mean get on with Uber? Just go in and sign up on the app. He said, well, they won't let me because of my background. And then the guy said, but you're driving the cab. Oh, the cabs don't care if there's a little something on your.
Because you pay for a medallion. You pay for the little thing that goes on.
What? So they don't have to be background checked.
So there's a false sense of security is what's going on here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow. So anyway.
There you go.
But they're trying to disrupt the disruption, and that this is not going to be good for them. It's not going to be good for them.
Mark's comment. I have little sympathy for the cab drivers here in Chicago. They treated everyone so poorly and disrespectfully and had dirty cars. Don't come crying to me because you are losing business. Perhaps you should have thought about customer service before someone came to take your business. He's absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Let me tell you, I think I may have like I can't stand dirty cars. Like, I don't like dirt on the floor. I'm probably OCD and just don't know it. But I can't stand, like, if some place is dirty on the floor, I'm like, I borderline want to go and say, can I have a broom so I can, because I can't stand it. I hate it. So when I would get in cabs and they would not, it would be all dusty and dirty, like my feet would be up the entire ride. So if I would I'd just be like this.
Especially in New York, you don't know what's happening in Los Angeles. You don't know what happened in there. You know what I'm saying?
You don't know what goes on the back seats in the New York.
You don't.
They had a whole show about it.
That's why I was so happy when Uber, Lyft, and Via. Like, every time I'm in New York now, I've just become really lazy. I barely ride the subway anymore. I'm like, ooh, Via, let me get it $5.
We had fun when we went to go visit TJ on the subway. I will think twice and get an Uber next time.
That's a rite of passage getting on.
It is. I mean, and it's great. But there are times when you want a nice warm ride in a clean car.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
An Uber.
Smells great in that car.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Brenna's what is Brenna saying? She said the Uber from the airport from the airport might be going up. Brenna, you're right. It might be going up because now they got to pay for all of the extra stuff that the government wants. So
and in order for them to be compliant with this 85 thing, they got to be able to adjust their own rates and to a degree.
And that's what so when I got in the cab, should go somewhere last night, or not the cab, into the Uber, it said between $16 to $22. So I'm like, okay, so we don't have like what? So there was a range, and I'm thinking that's so that the driver can pick, or however it is, so he's an employee in compliance.
Yeah, because now you got to guess, do I have enough money to get home?
On the card,
exactly. Is it 16 or is it 22? That's the difference.
And then, do you want to pay a tip after all of that?
Because of the uncertainty.
And see, that's the operative thing. Now it's like, okay, well, what can we do now that this law has passed? What can we do? All right, so it can be on the consumer where we're like, okay, well, let's just make sure that we tip, but that's not a guaranteed thing. And if rates are already going up to make up for some of these things. It's like, do you feel that you want to tip more? It's like, look, I've already paid $25. What more do you want from me? You know?
And you told me it could possibly have been 16.
Right.
You see what I mean? Now, if you had just told me straight up it was $25,
Right.
I'm prepared. But you told me there's a range, so you could have charged me less. Now my mind, you know, I'm a consumer. My mind is going nuts.
Exactly. Exactly.
And so, and now, do I want to tip you? Because a ride home from the place I went yesterday and back home used to cost me $8-9.
Mm-hmm.
It's 16 to 22 now.
So it's double.
So I'm like, okay.
That's a big difference.
That is.
And then I'm like, oh, okay, I got to get home. And at one point it was $45, and because I guess there was a surge or something. I'm like, oh no, we will just sit here and wait. And I waited, and the surge went down, and it wasn't 45 anymore. But I was like, I refuse to pay $45.
Yeah, when it's not, that's not the normal price. Yeah.
No, it wasn't. And I was like, whoa.
Okay, so
Exactly.
Mark's got a comment here, guys. You see that?
Yeah,
You
there's a
have to ride
couple.
the subway.
Yes.
Mark,
Yeah.
you have to ride the subways where you meet all of the best people. And they may be the last people you meet, but
It's the people that you meet when you're walking down the street.
The people that you meet each day. Yes.
To say.
Wow.
they said if you want to do it right with being an Uber driver, you need to have water and snacks for customers.
Yes. I like
Look,
good customer service.
And the last few I wrote in, they didn't have the charger for my phone. I was like, okay, where's the standard is slipping, people.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, by the way, hey, Gary Lanham, he's here. And
Hey,
so
Gary.
what's happening is, remember when Uber and Lyft first debuted, there was water and snacks for, would you like some water, madame? Well, sure, I'll take some, everything. So, but as it goes along, you know, it slips, the standard is slipping. And I can kind of understand, because that's not on Uber or Lyft to provide those things for the, that's the driver. And so, you know, it's like, I'm out of water. I can't go to I don't have the money to go to Costco and refill.
Exactly.
We just won't do it this week. So, I mean, I can kind of understand, but the customer service is nice. And that's actually what hooked us initially.
Right.
When did you ever get anything, even a hello from a cab, let alone water or a snack? So,
well, we just wanted to pick you up.
Provided they even pick you up. I mean, sorry to say, this was a huge thing when I first was moved to DC for grad school. They would not pick up people of color, particularly Black people. And some of these people were Black themselves. And I was livid because I was coming from the grocery store to have my Howard sweatshirt, and cabs kept passing. So, you know what? That's why I was really happy when Lyft and Uber and these things debuted. I was like, good for you, DC cabs. Exactly what the hell you get. God doesn't like ugly. Good for you. I hope you're not making any money. And that's a terrible thing to say, but karma is a beast. Good for you.
Oh.
It is.
Yes.
And Mark said, Mark says, my last Lyft driver had magazines, water, wipes, lotions, complimentary lens cleaners, etc. I almost moved in.
I love it. I love it. Well, we've come a long way, Tachi, because when I got off the plane in 71, in 67, I had to ask, do y'all
go to a
pick us up at all? Which cab stand should I go to?
Right.
Or should I call the school to see if they're going to pick me up from the airport?
Wow.
Exactly. So,
I need the jitney,
the jitney was nothing more than Uber.
Back in the day.
Wow.
Exactly. Wow.
We didn't have access.
Period. We just didn't have an app. They just ain't got an app. That's
and you know, to that point, that's the reason that there have been some apps where there hasn't been like an answer like that for Uber or Lyft, because it is still a problem with Uber and Lyft, but not to the extent it was with the cab industry, and not as much as, you know, it used to be. But, you know, particularly with the something like Airbnb, there have been numerous incidents of people. In fact, Bob Marley's granddaughter had an issue when they were staying at Airbnb with
Mhm.
discrimination. And so this is why you've had some other apps that have
Is there an
cropped up.
off? I was reading there was like an offshoot, like there was like a black
Uh-huh. It
Airbnb.
was like but
Yeah.
it was called I forgot what it's
the
called.
name. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was like basically like a green book,
Mhm.
for
I was about to
traveling
say,
while
can we
black.
back to the Green Book?
Of
Mhm.
Airbnb.
That's
Exactly.
all the Green Book was.
And that's all it is, where you can stay and
Stay.
not be persecuted, places where black people could stay, could eat, could get gas. And it's terrible that you
Exactly.
still have to have Green Book till this day.
Right.
Never mind that we are the number one consumers in this country. We spend money, our money spends just like anybody else's, but for some reason there are people that like to hold on to old attitudes. So when these things crop up, these other apps and stuff crop up, don't get mad when yours loses business. And so, in response, of course, Airbnb has done all sorts of things like suspend those people, etc. And again, good for you. That's exactly what you get. You don't deserve to make money off of anybody if that's your attitude. So, I think we're going to see, and not just related to discrimination, but
Right.
related to disrupting the disruption. We're going to see more things. I think we're going to start to go back. Remember, in DC, and I think they still do it, people that work like at the Pentagon, that work like in downtown DC, there were pickups in Virginia, whatever. They kind of connected through Craigslist and things. Hey, and so you had that carpool type of thing. That's basically, where Uber came from, the original, like you said, carpools.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were called jitneys.
Jitneys, exactly.
Because people had to figure out a way to get to work. We've always had to figure out a way to get to work. And there was no, well, if you can't get here, next. So people become creative in order to meet their needs.
And these young men became creative when they did Uber, because they couldn't get if they were having the taxi situation that we were having. They were like, look, let's get all of our friends who got cars. Okay, can you come? And they put together this thing and put it on an app to let you know who had a car that was available. Pat says, I use a local cab company and set up the pickup and pay online at a 15% discount. They send the driver's name and phone number. I have no use for random cabs, Lyft, or Uber. Yeah, that's a good thing, but that don't happen in because see, the cabs here try to have an app system. I don't trust it.
Right.
I don't trust them,
they
and I
do
don't
that
trust
here too.
Okay, y'all could have did that a long time ago, but no.
But at least because before I didn't even know if you were coming or not.
They didn't
I'm
come.
I'm waiting.
I gotta go to the airport, and you're not coming to pick me up after I booked the cab. Oh, we won't be there. Excuse me?
Wow.
Yeah, they just have an extremely poor business model, because for a long time they were the only ones. You may have had one or two cab companies, but they were the only ones, so they could do whatever they like. That's a lack of corporate and company responsibility, that you only change and try to say hi to me, and now you want to take me to Brownsville because Lyft and Uber do it and other people do it. So now you're doing it to compete. You could take that and take the number 2 train to the gates, because I'm not, you know the gates of where. So
Oh my God.
I don't buy it. It's nonsense.
Well, I'm not trying to be on that train. I'll tell you that.
And Pat says each cab is a mini SUV, and we want to say welcome to Linda. Hi, Linda.
Hi, Linda.
Hi.
Another South Florida realtor.
Cab story, and that's probably why we book Ubers. It's just the thing.
Cab drivers are so rude. Yeah, they can be rude.
You're like,
look, they're so rude. You're just lucky they ain't nude. So we're okay. At least they got on some clothes. Okay, take me where I want to go. Okay.
So Terry and I got a split, but we're going to put you all in the capable hands of Dr. Tachi and Dr. TJ. And thank you so much. And you guys continue to have fun. And
we love you.
We'll see y'all next week.
Monday, remember. Don't
Have a
forget to
good
go to the
weekend.
front line, and we'll see you Monday for coffee thoughts.
Yep. So y'all can continue the conversation.
Yeah, we'll
Bye-bye.
we'll wrap it up. We'll continue. Cheers.
Bye.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Okay. What I have is a little bit about Instagram.
Okay.
Instagram is testing letting IGTV creators monetize with ads. So
Yes.
they're having a prototype for an Instagram partner program that would let creators earn money by showing advertisements along with their videos. So do you think that's going to save, because they want IGTV to be like YouTube and that, like a streaming thing. And the complaint is the person that wrote the story was saying in his Explorer feed, all he sees is meme type videos, nothing that's of quality to watch.
Yeah, it's not YouTube, boo boo. And so the whole thing is like it's different. When you watch a YouTube video, you then get suggestions for all types of other videos that are similar to what you watch. So if you're watching, for example, a lot of things from TechCrunch and The Verge, you get all these other things that come up. Plus, the other things that they give all these recommendations.
Right.
IGTV doesn't do that. They go off of what's hip and popular. You see, like all sorts of mean things. I'm like, is anybody, which is cool. There is room in the space for that.
Yeah.
There's room in the space for that. But is anybody else doing something tech? And I have to physically search for
them
it.
out. You have to, the way IGTV is set up now is you have to follow or know about the person to see their videos on IGTV.
Right.
The thing that works with TikTok and Byte and everything that's coming up now is that the videos roll. You don't have to do anything. And like with YouTube, you watch a video on a certain topic, the next suggested video is going to be similar. It's going to be a different person, but it's similar. But so the way they have IGTV now is that you just upload a video, and well, if you're not following a person or you don't know about them, you have to kind of go hunt and peck and search for the what they're doing. I'm like, nobody has time for that when you have other apps that do it for you. They go right into the next. And if you sit there, it's like the Netflix effect. You sit there and it rolls into the next one. That's how I've got caught up in a lot of stuff on Netflix. It just rolls. Yeah,
into the next one. That's what you do. Look, the average person doesn't want to do anything anyway. Just give me a suggestion for, okay, this looks kind of cool. I will watch that. I ended up watching on YouTube the other day because we were doing a review of Picard.
Right.
On the podcast, on the podcast.
Okay.
So I don't have CBS All Access, nor am I going to pay for it. Mark Ward knows this too well. So after watching Picard, I got a whole bunch of suggestions for now. Everybody puts the first episode of their new shows up on YouTube.
Right.
So they do the pilot episode. So I'm like, I could watch this pilot too. That's a great way to get you to watch something you may not have ordinarily watched. Brilliant. You think you'd see that on IGTV? No. You know why? Because it's owned by the masters of none, Facebook.
And Mark says, as long as it's not like YouTube where you are interrupted in an illogical place for an intrusive commercial. I'm sorry, Mark. It's going to be like the videos on Facebook Watch or wherever you watch a video where the ad comes in. It's going to be like that.
Unless you are, here's the thing. There are too many different types of content as well that are monetized, and they don't all have the same structure. So you can't say okay, unless they gave guidelines. All right, if you're going to monetize, then you need to have a break at the 30-minute mark. If you're an hour show, you need to have a break at the 15-minute mark. They need to give you specific timestamps of when you need to have a break. That's the only way something can be, so you would time. What happens is you're doing it and it's at an illogical place. And then we had ice cream, Geico insurance, that type of thing will break right in the middle.
Part of that where the ads make sense to you, they need to have, information that gathered on you. Otherwise, you're going to get commercials that are relevant.
Exactly. Well, but this is the age that we're living in. We're living in the age of self-directed TV, right? Yep. We're in this age where anybody can have a program, anybody can have media created. You're a content creator, but what we forget is that the people that are on linear television, they're not just they're not self-directed. They have directors that tell you wrap it up.
Script,
All right,
yeah.
we're going to commercial. Wrap it up. So they have a script. They've got a teleprompter, and it's a very tight ship and a very tight show, even if it's a live show.
Right.
That's what we have to remember. So so then that means we're going back to the days of not necessarily spontaneous content, but now scripted, very heavily scripted content, even if it's reality type stuff. So if we want to have commercials, a long way of saying if we want ads in places that it makes sense, then we've got to start to make our content with breaks that coincide with where they would put it. And then YouTube and all these other outlets would have to have very specific guidelines of when and where to have your ad breaks. It's not going to happen.
That's it. So, IGTV, good try. I don't know, too little, too late, whatever. There'll be someone testing it out and we'll see what they do. But this IGTV thing is not doing so well, Instagram. Come up with something better. I don't know. I mean,
exactly.
I don't know.
All
right. So, go ahead.
Christy is here. I was just saying, hello, Christy.
Hi, Christy. So one more thing on Instagram, there's now a new setting. Well, it is new setting. If you go to your follower list and tap it, you can see the people that you interact with the most and the least. So you can clean up your feed. I just saw that today. So I'm looking at my Instagram going, okay, if I don't interact with these people or I go and look at their feed, I'm going to thin out my list. I'm going to thin out my following list, who I'm following. So you tap on it and it shows you this is the list of people on Instagram that you interacted with the most. You can see their, if you, I didn't see what so-and-so did this week. You can go in there and look at what they're doing. And then the ones you interacted with them least, you can go in and say, well, I'm not really following them anymore. I don't like their content. And you can just unfollow. So there's a little thing in there for Instagram.
Well, which works, but we also have to remember that Instagram, you were the ones that kind of changed the algorithm, so we stopped seeing people as much. So maybe it's the fact that you just don't see them. You know, when stuff doesn't come up on your radar,
right,
you don't even. So I'm like, so now you want me to get rid of them after you show me.
I think on that point, it might be a way for you to go look at that list and you see someone you haven't interacted with, and then you go, oh yeah, I forgot. I want to look at what they're doing, and then you go to their profile and look at what they're doing. So it's both. I think it's both ways.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You're right.
But it's a little tool there. That's what's going on with Instagram.
Cool beans.
All right, so what's up in media? Lots.
All right, yeah, lots is going on in media. I don't even know if I want to broach this subject because I would have loved for all the ladies to be here.
Yeah.
Gayle King.
Oh yeah, we need it. We can wait. Can we wait a week because it's gonna die?
You know what? It is going to die, but maybe we can connect it to something. I don't know. You tell me. You all tell me. I'm just. I would have loved to get their take on it, though.
Yes.
So let's.
What I think about it, this is my opinion, people. I love Gayle King. I love what she's doing for journalism and women and everything. But I think that one thing, and I forgot the quote where she asked Lisa Leslie, was she sure about her friend? I think she said, okay, that's not the Kobe I know, is what Lisa said. And then the comeback was, well, like, are you really sure? Like, you don't kind of second guessing someone else's friendship, but you don't have any part of that friendship. And plus you weren't as friendly with him as she was. That was the part that I didn't like. And I think that was the fire cake, the thing that started the whole, now everybody's calling her name. I don't agree with that. Don't call her the B word. Don't call her, be angry. Yes. But now they want her fired and this. No, she made a mistake by going too far with when she said, that's, this is our friendship. I don't know. He wasn't like that, is basically what she was saying. And then Gayle was like, okay, are you sure I'm going to gaslight you and make you second guess your friendship? And I'm like, Lisa Leslie was very polite in her response. Because if it was me, I would have been like, something else, and we got to cut this because I got some things to say. Okay, because I've been friends with. I have friends that have been years, and I know them. And if somebody comes and say, well, they were accused of something, but wasn't convicted. They were accused, and all of this thing, and we're gonna bring it up 25 years. I was like, wait a minute. So that's what I'm saying. I give it up to Lisa Leslie for composure and giving the right response. And come on. There's a point where you step the toe out, and she stepped the toe out a little bit with that. Are you sure? Do you really know him? And I would have came back. Well, do you really know your friend Oprah? But that's me. But see, that's me. Lisa took it a nut. She was like, okay, I'm gonna
shade.
But that's
this
me.
is why.
Well, what about do you know everything about your best friend? You've been 30 years. But that's the kind of thing I would have done, and it would have been like, cut.
TJ, that's exactly why you will never be interviewed by Gail Craig. You said
I didn't like that part where she second guessed Lisa's answer instead of taking it and then going, okay, let me ask another question in another vein, but not to second guess my relationship with someone who isn't here to defend himself. That's the part that other people don't like. He's not here. He wasn't convicted. You can say whatever you like. Then there's other stories where people are saying there have been other journalists of other colors that have said things about Kobe more viciously than this, and no one called them out. So why are you jumping on Gail as much as you are?
I'll tell you why.
She doesn't deserve it. I'm just saying people are going too far. Snoop Dogg, one of them. If you want to hear what he said, it's online.
So
repeat
it. Great points. Great points. Let's deconstruct this a little bit. I mean, I know I wish that the other two ladies were here, but let's deconstruct this a little bit. So to your point of why there are other journalists, and we talked about Felicia last week, when, in terms of the persecution she's gotten, but not to this extent. There are other people, like you said, of other ethnicities that have talked about this and talked about the case, and it came up, and the response has not been as harsh. I think there is, when it comes to, and Mark Ward, we were actually kind of talking about this last night, when it comes to our Black communities, there is a protectiveness, and in many cases an overprotectiveness when anyone comes after somebody that is considered, quote, our own, regardless if the person is guilty or not. And so there is this protectiveness. Then there's this thought process of, oh, well, you're not just a journalist, but you're also a Black journalist. He's a Black man, and you should have protected him. How dare you? There is an extra burden because Gail is a Black journalist. That she should, and not just a Black journalist, but a Black woman journalist, that she should have protected. Two extra burdens. Yes, that you are supposed to, as at all times, carry the weight of the race on your shoulders. That is what is out there, and that's the paradox that you face when you are a journalist and you're a journalist of color reporting on your communities. That's the paradox you face. How do you accurately and fairly represent your community without taking on the burden? Can you be unobtrusive and an observer and objective, while and you should be able to, but sometimes communities will not let you. So that's one aspect of this, one aspect of this. Number two, I think more time has passed than when the first journalist did forwarded the story. I can't remember
when she did hers.
That was 2 hours after. 2 hours after he died on that Sunday.
Really? Okay.
2 hours on that Sunday, and she put it up. So that made it very self-serving. But this was also self-serving if you look at it. Gail has started to become well, she's always been a journalist, but she started to gain a reputation for being... Yes, for being calm and cool and really asking these pointed questions and the hard-hitting questions and those types of things. And so it was self-serving to do that. I don't think that she needed to go beyond when you ask that. It is fair to ask this because people, this is coming up. So it's fair to talk about that.
It's fair to ask that.
It's fair to ask this at this point in time. At this point in time, time has passed. It's fair to ask, but you did not need to dig it in even more with, are you sure? And like you said, well, are you sure about you? Like you said.
When I really looked at the interview and I read, somebody put the whole and I read it and I was like, that's when she put herself into the story of, are you like, I can't believe she's sitting here, but it's my friend. I wasn't with him 24/7, but that was how long ago was it? 25 years ago, this incident that happened. He's changed.
Right.
Not to say that he's changed, because I don't know in what mindset he was, but he was in a different mindset because he was 25. That's a different mindset from being 41. So you have a friendship with your friend and you're there through thick and thin and through whatever. It's not like she was privy to everything because, being a woman. Now, when they're males or with their male friends, they do different things than when they're with their women friends. That's just how it is. But to say to her, after she gave an answer that was really clear and nice and everything, it's like, oh, well, he was, she's in her mind, like, he wasn't convicted. She's acting like he was convicted of a crime. It was an accusation. And then she was like, oh, you really sure? That's the part that I didn't like.
I think that there was a way to ask that.
Yeah.
That
the follow-up to her answer.
The follow-up to her answer, and she could have said it like this. If she was asking that, she's like, well, there are those who would say, are you sure? How would you respond to that?
I like that. It can't when
I'm a journalist.
It's like from her. Yeah, I'm like, come on, hold up, Gail. No. That's your opinion.
That's your opinion, but there's
friendship.
Exactly. So it's fair to bring up. That's even a fair question to ask if you are reflecting the thought processes of what the common discourse is already. If that's already out there,
exactly how you said it. There are others who would, but she just came out instantly, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure she regrets it, but. It's
absolutely.
Done now.
Well, and then so her thing is, even before you read the transcript, her thing is that she's livid with CBS for just posting that one clip and taking it out of context. Okay, that happens often. Editing is not the best friend of some things. Right. However, when you look at the transcript, and even when you just look at that clip, there is no preamble to what she says in terms of, this is not what I'm thinking, this is what is out there, and I just want you to respond to what is out there. To which I think she would not have shut that conversation down. She would have said, that is not the Kobe that I know. I knew him as X, Y, Z, and that should have been a satisfactory answer. However, I will say this, on the flip side of this, by shutting that down, it also does, in a sense, and again, for Lisa Leslie, that is not the Kobe she knows, but that doesn't mean she knows all of Kobe, and that doesn't mean what was purported to happen did not happen. And so then we're looking again at re-victimizing the victim when this comes up. Reopening the wound, right?
And everybody's moved on, and I understand that there's.
But maybe she hasn't moved on. That's kind of my point. She maybe not has moved on.
He has, as far as a public persona, because when his death happened, everybody was still in shock. That's why when the person 2 hours after, and then she put. That's why maybe a lot of people that are jumping now didn't jump on her because it was fresh. The shock was fresh because I was just like, wow, that just happens. You just wake up, and this is a fact of life that a lot of people younger. I think a lot of the younger kids that are his fans were like, wow, you could be rich and famous and die. Yes. So I think that was a part of the shock. Also, it was just like everybody wakes up and there's this somebody you don't expect to die who's young, but an accident happens. And they didn't get used to it. Some people are still, crying and stuff. I was like, you have to move on with your life. It's not to be cruel. It's just that's how things happen. So
it is.
We're in the part where now they're starting to look at your flaws. When it first happened, it was, the great things he did. Now people are coming in and going like, well, he did this and he did that. He wasn't such a great person, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. It's just.
Time needs to pass. Obviously, there are people, more time needs to pass. There are people that are affected, his family, his fans. Although
baby, guys, he's still got a little baby.
He's got a little baby, and those are the things that matter. That there are people that are affected, but I still think And I do agree. You have to look at a public figure in their totality.
Yeah.
In terms of, and there's the argument again, can you separate a person from their art? What we
Right.
have to remember is that a person's life and actions informs their art. So
Yeah.
I don't think you can.
Right.
I think your attitude towards things informs the way you behave, the way you cast characters for your movies, the way you treat women, etc. I think it informs your art. Absolutely. But this person has died, and there's a level of respect that the media needs to show
Yeah.
towards this person and their family. And then you can do a retrospective when you, in terms of that. That doesn't mean villainize him forever.
Right.
But
Give it some time.
give it some time.
Yeah, Brenna comments, so you don't perceive this as an issue for Kobe. You mean us, or are you just saying general? And then she says, accidents can be avoided, maintenance, where's the black box? There is an issue.
There wasn't a black box though.
Right, but there is an issue with the company that I just read maybe a couple days ago. There was something with maintenance and something they knew that they needed to fix, and they weren't on top of it. So that's all of this is coming out. And like Dr. Taji said, this story is we even they haven't buried him yet. They haven't had the memorial yet. All of those things need to come up in the plate, and then we'll get more of the story as far as with what really happened with the helicopter, and could have been prevented or whatever. And there's things about the pilot, all kind of things, like they weren't supposed to fly visually and low fall. All of those things are going to come out because the FAA takes like a year or two, and then they put their report out. But they're going to study every little detail.
Mm-hmm. They do a very thorough investigation.
And I'm just saying, with Gail's interview, is that you can talk about Kobe, you can talk about what happened to him, you can talk about the rape allegations. He wasn't convicted, there was no trial. Allegations.
But he did apologize, and they settled. Yeah.
Right. That was a part of the settlement, that he did have to issue an apology. It's not an admission of guilt. It's an apology. And the way he worded it was, I thought it was one way, she thought it was another. I apologize for that. That's, if you go and read it, that's really what it says.
Right.
He doesn't apologize for the act, because on his end, he's saying it's consensual. So he's not apologizing for the act. He's saying that if you thought it was this, I'm sorry. But we'll never know, because one side of the party is no longer here, cannot represent himself.
No.
And he's not here. I'm just saying that Gail has a right as a journalist to be fair, but she has to also remember the three things she carries on her back, Black woman journalist. She carries those things.
Yeah.
She had to balance all of those, and she was doing great until that comeback at Lisa's response about my friendship with him. You weren't part of it. So I'm just saying, I would be a little more aggressive in my response, but that's just me. So
we know you would.
I would say even more. Oh, really? Because it's like, this is my friend, at least 25 years or more. That's a long
absolutely
friends. And then to have someone who wasn't a friend come and bring their objectivity into a interview that should be free of object. You should be free of that as a journalist. So
absolutely.
Issue. And then I think other people are mad because she asked it. I'm not mad that she asked. I'm mad at the follow-up to the answer.
Right. I think it could have been worded, kind of in the way that I did.
Perfect.
To
take it out of Gail's mouth and say, some people would say that didn't work.
Exactly. So, I think it is what it is. Yeah. I also think that two things, to wrap it up. I think that journalists need to be especially cautious in taking care and reporting things these days, because we're so under scrutiny and so under the gun and so persecuted, to be quite honest. And so we don't need any carelessness that is going to make it worse for journalists.
Because if you start to pressure journalism like this, the real story, or someone writing the story or telling the story, won't get out. Like the doctor that died with the coronavirus. He just died yesterday. He was one of the people that sounded the first alarm, and the government was trying to suppress him. but he got the word out. And so here we are. And then he unfortunately did not make it. So
Yeah,
really
exactly.
sad, but I was like, he's a hero. To me, he's a hero to get the story out in a area in a situation in government where they're suppressing a voice.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to suppress journalism like the current administration is doing, I will say, but you don't want to suppress journalism where they get the ones that do their job well and they get in there and they ask the good question and the bad. They don't just focus on the good. They ask the whole 360 rounded questions and get the 360 story. And you get mad, well, okay, you can get mad, but don't call people out. The Snoop Dogg thing was really uncalled for.
Nobody asked him to talk. This is the thing, because when these things sort of happen, you get all sorts of people. First of all, you already know the peanut gallery on Twitter, and they already have something to say. That's the great thing about the great thing about social media is everybody has a platform, and the bad thing is everybody has a platform. You don't always have to talk, and that's the problem. I expect that from the rest of Twitter because there's so many people that are just not educated in the ways of properly responding to things. So I expect that. But what I don't expect,
and I think he threatened her at the end. I didn't listen to the whole thing.
I didn't listen to the whole thing either, but I'm like, can you make music or concentrate on being Snoop Lion or whoever the hell you are today? Stop it.
Women with the dog collars walking around with I mean, it's two sides, yes, but he had the women with the dog collars. We're not going to get into his misogyny and stuff, but you know,
exactly. You have propagated misogyny. Don't speak on this. That's why I'm like, what? Be quiet and sit down. Whatever. You went too far. You didn't have to speak.
All right. So Nazim says, did we cover the app fail in the Iowa caucuses? Oh
no.
What do I want to say about that? Because I've heard the background on it that the consensus is that everything failed in Iowa because of several factors. One of them being everybody skews older there. They didn't know how to use the app. They didn't know how to do the two-factor authentication. So you kind of got to give, I don't know, should we give them a break or not? Then there's other factions I heard today saying that Iowa shouldn't be first because of the way that they do the caucuses, and another state should be first. I don't know. It's a morass. It's a big mess.
My thing is, can we not sort out these things while we're using them, while we need to use them in the thick of it? Never mind all of that. This is the conversation that we should have been having in between 2 years ago.
Yeah, okay? 2 years ago, not today.
Not today. So it is what it is now. Will you just hurry up? That's all I can. I'm not even, it was just terrible. I'm not even paying attention to any of this.
After listening to everything, and my real opinion on this technology wise, that this is all signs that the process needs to be changed.
Absolutely.
Iowa caucuses is people standing in a corner. Truly. This candidate, go stand in that corner. This candidate, you're for this candidate, go stand. They actually do that. And then they go to the process where they have the votes and everything. And I'm thinking all of this turmoil politically is because things needs to be changed to be more inclusive of everybody and have a fair, clear platform for everybody. That's what I feel like this is happening. I don't know if it needs to be an app. I don't know if it needs to be technology. I don't know what it needs to be, but it needs to be something better than this. That's what came out of the Iowa caucuses for me.
Absolutely. I think we've gone beyond the point of paper and pencil, but we haven't gone to the point of educating people how to go beyond paper and pencil.
We have the people that are a certain age. I'm not going to say that, but that what was said was on TV was when I listened to the story that there were lots of older people that were in control of the app, and they didn't know. And there was a part where you had to do a two-factor authentication. They didn't know how to do that, and that delayed the process. And it's a big mess to me.
And it's very difficult to do on your flip phone. Anyway.
But this is another side where I say, as an older person, you have to have a younger mindset, and you have to not dismiss someone because they're young. You have to listen to what's going on with that generation. That's why I love to talk about them, because that's where media focuses on them, 18 to 24, 18 to 34. They kind of rule the world as far as media and stuff, and the attitudes. I mean, the attitudes of the ads and the attitudes of behavior. So as you know, they're older. They should have had a class maybe before. Say, okay, this is what you do. You go in and you go to Google and you do, all. It's really simple if you give them the steps. I don't know if they had the proper training, but give them the proper training. Don't leave the older people behind. Don't leave anybody. Don't marginalize people. Is mine. I guess my last word.
Well, that would just be too much like right. And Mark is actually speaking to that. In terms, he says, "I was caucus."
Let's see.
Yeah.
Okay, Nazim says no break. They should have beta tested. Right. I agree. Mark says Iowa shouldn't be first because it's 98% white. Come on now, diversity people. Hey, there you go. Mark says, imagine if one person, one vote, and most wins mattered so much easier. I mean, there's a process. And like, Mark said, it's 98% white. That's not, that man worked 30 years ago, but we're in a different era now because the youth is pulling the older okay boomer. They're pulling the okay boomers into technology, dragging and screaming, and there's this pushback. But that just shows me that Iowa, a process needs to be changed, refined, made better. I don't know if it shouldn't be all tech, but it shouldn't be paper and pen like Dr. Tachi said. It shouldn't be that. Somewhere in the middle, they got to get to it. So, and remember who's running the government for us when we see them on TV.
I just want to give them a big okay boomer.
Old white guys. I'm just sorry. That's just, you got to have everybody's voice counted. It has to be diversity. It can't be Iowa caucuses first. Why? Because of tradition?
Yeah. Well, basically, yes. Yes.
Well, guess what? The younger generation, they spit on your tradition. They don't like it. That's why we have so much disruption in every industry, because they are saying, we don't want to do it that way no more. And this happened in the 60s.
Well,
that way.
I think that there's a big thing. What's his name? Years ago, when I was teaching at Nova Southeastern, one of the speakers we brought, he's an actor, but he didn't come to talk about acting. He came to talk about civics. That was his big thing.
Right. Okay.
And his big thing was, part of the reason we don't have younger people don't have an interest in government and in leadership in government is because they've taken things like civics out of the classroom. So there's nothing to generate an interest in it. So I think one thing is that, we look at millennials, the lower end of millennials, not the ones that have just turned 30,
right? The younger ones,
the younger ones, and then Gen Z. We kind of look at them more in an economic sense than we do in a political or leadership sense,
right,
in terms of trying to cultivate. So we teach them all about, trying to now cultivate wealth, or we're trying to do this now that they're broke. But there's not a big push in terms of, all right, well, what about running for city council?
Agreed.
What about running for the school board? Doing things on a local level. What about being a commissioner? Those types of things. So I think it starts there, and then we can make pushes for technology, etc., because those are languages that they're used to. When you have younger commissioners and then they can do that. That doesn't mean forget about the other people.
Right.
But guess what? You've had your time. You had donkey's years to get this together, and you haven't managed to do that.
Exactly.
So let's have some younger people, and we have to cultivate that, I think, in schools. And
they have
parents need to talk about
it. Parents and community meetings or activities, make it fun for them to learn about government and civics. Make it fun to them, and they'll pick it up. It's just the disparation of the disparity of putting them down. That's why the okay boomer thing is such a big thing, because they're pushing back. The youth is pushing back, saying, okay, boomer, you too old, you need to be out of here. Why are you still on this planet? Actually, that's what they say. Why are these old people still on the planet? I'm going, wait a minute now, we can't have one or the other. We need elders here for experience and to tell their stories. So
exactly.
Respect. But respect has to be on both ends. So I think the pushback for the okay boomer was that the young generation was like, we're tired of being disrespected, and we're gonna bite back. So there you go.
That's fine.
Nazim says not. Oh, he said the Nancy can tear up his. I didn't agree with her tearing it up. I didn't.
I'll keep quiet.
Think that was appropriate.
Well, okay. So we can say that, but But this is the thing. Usually, civility is always left in the hands of those that are being persecuted or oppressed. We're always the ones that have to be civil and turn the other cheek, and they go low, we go high. They go low, I throw rocks. So what she said,
because she's the most powerful woman in government. I understand the frustration. I understand wanting to do that. And you're right. Why do we have to take the high road? You know, Michelle says, you know, what she said about take the high road. Right. I agree. But I'm just like, okay, they took that, and should we not care about them? But they took that and ran with it, as they always run with it.
They always take everything and run with it.
Yeah,
so,
that's what I mean.
You know, at this point, you could tell she was just like, which?
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, Nancy, she got Baltimore on them.
I half liked it, and I half went, oh, they're gonna run. And it's like,
I didn't give two damn. Yeah. I was like, yeah, because it's about time. This is the thing. There's been so much vitriol that had, whether or not you agree with whether the person who lives in the White House should be in power is a different case. The thing is, there has been so much disrespect and so much vitriol spewed from his mouth. And nobody ever says anything. We always like, well, we're going to take the high road, and it doesn't work. So damned if you do, damned if you don't. So I'm like, you know what? This is the first time that and it was a gesture that seemed small, but it was big. It was the first time that somebody said, you know what? I'm tired, and just did. And good for her. I'm good for her.
No, I half loved it and I half cringed because I knew they was gonna run the fuel for their fire. And I'm like, I don't want to give them any. I don't even think about them.
But like, they don't need any fuel for us. Look, even if we did not give them any kindling, they would go to the wood, find some, and make a fire themselves.
I know. So I'm like, I said I half liked it and I half was like, okay.
I liked it all the way. I said, and then I stood up. Good for, just like I said with the cabbies, good for your behind. Good. That's what you get, dummy. Anyway, I'm sorry. So there's just one last thing, because I know it's time. One last thing that I want to bring up. So you know that I have a love-hate relationship, mostly hate relationship with CBS All Access, because they put on these shows that you get. I am totally hooked on Picard, and now I'm like, damn you, CBS All Access, you're gonna make me pay for this. So they put the really good properties that they have on CBS All Access and dole it out one at a time.
They're really good. I was going to try checking it out.
First of all, I am a Jean-Luc Picard.
Oh, I love him.
I am all up in some Jean-Luc Picard. Jean-Luc.
I love him too. He's great.
I love him. What? So
I'm going to put it on my list.
Yes. That's another story for another day. Okay. But I love Jean-Luc Picard. So when I heard that they were doing a standalone Star Trek Picard, I was all over it. Love it. Yeah. So love it.
What's the ratings on? The ratings, the reviews been like stratospheric?
Reviews have been really good.
And the response from the fans have been like
good. I mean, it is, you can watch the pilot episode on YouTube.
On YouTube,
Please watch it. It is, if you are a Star Trek fan, you will be pleased with Star Trek Picard. Okay. So they actually now, I guess, they're feeling themselves, and they're expected to expand CBS All Access. They are planning a new streaming service. Viacom CBS is planning a new streaming service. They closed that $11.7 billion merger in December. Remember, Viacom and CBS used to be together, and they split apart. Now they're together again.
Yeah. Yes.
Only to come back together, get remarried after the divorce. So they're trying to unveil a new streaming service in late this month. That's going to draw from the strength of the recombined companies of both Viacom and CBS, according to The Hollywood Reporter. So they're planning the expansion of CBS All Access, which, by the way, launched in 2014. I didn't realize it had been
been a while. Yeah.
It's been 6 years since they launched. So it's going to encompass brands like Comedy Central, BET, Paramount Network, MTV, and CBS News, amongst other offerings. And so the original programming they're going to have, of course, is the Star Trek franchise, including Discovery and Picard, as well as The Good Fight and the reboot of the Twilight Zone. So here, let's talk about price. Um, so,
$9.99.
well, they're I'm not quite sure what they're going to be. So right now, All Access is priced at $6 a month, and Showtime is at $11. And both CBS All Access and Showtime together boast about 10 million subscribers.
Okay.
So not sure what the pricing is going to be yet, but maybe you can figure somewhere in between the two. It definitely will not be $17.
I'm thinking $2.99, $3.99. I don't know.
I don't know.
Because go over $6.
I don't know. That's a good prediction. But this is yet another streaming service, so we're thinking it can't be too expensive.
Yes,
because
that's what I mean. I was saying the $2.99, $3.99, something like that.
Well, so this is what's going to happen. They are reporting their fourth quarter earnings on February 20th, so in about 2 weeks. So we'll know more about the price and plans for this and what it's going to be called then.
Okay.
But this is just the initial taste. Let's know that there's another streaming service coming.
Hey. So Mark says, Tachi, you wait until the next season of The Good Fight. The Stand. Oh, The Stand is going to be on CBS on Access, All Access, and all of the Picard season 1 is dropped. Then you get CBS All Access and binge it all in a month. Granted, you'll have to take vacation time from work. And then Pat says, I sense that Tachi likes Jean-Luc Picard. Yes, she does.
Oh my goodness. I
didn't know The Stand. Is The Stand going to be on CBS All Access? I thought maybe they would put it on regular CBS. I don't know.
That's probably going to be CBS All Access, or they'll do one episode and then the rest on CBS All Access, like they so famously do. I don't know. So but I'm none too happy because I'm hooked on Picard and I want to see it now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to wait to binge.
Now.
Yeah, exactly.
There's so many things on my list. I gotta watch the what is it? Maladorian. What is
Mandalorian? That? Please watch Mandalorian.
Mandalorian. I gotta watch that. I gotta watch the Picard. There's a couple other things on my list. It's just like having the time. So that's what I was saying about Netflix. I was watching something and it just kept roll. I just let it roll because I was like, I'm just doing something and I'm watching. And I'm doing something and I just let it roll because I'm like, I don't have time to be. I want to, but there's so many streaming services. The stuff on Disney I haven't watched yet.
Well, what's going to happen is they're going to start to cannibalize themselves, these streaming services, because there are just really too many at this point. Are you going to make enough off of the limited pool of individuals that will buy the streaming services to justify your existence? Are you going to have to, most of it is going to have to be ad model, which a lot, Hulu has the ad supported and the non-ad supported. A lot have that, as well. Netflix doesn't do that, but it remains to be seen who will be amongst the casualties in the streaming wars.
There will be casualties.
Oh, they're coming. There are already some injured. In the hospital.
Is Apple injured? Is Apple?
It's too early to tell. It's way too early to tell. Remember, with Apple and also with Disney Plus, they have this year thing going on that they've given everybody. So it's too early to tell. After that year is over, we're going to see who re-ups and whether or not they're able to maintain. We'll see. Yeah,
we'll see. Well, it will be a battle. I know that
it will. Okay. So I guess we're done.
Yeah, we're done. We're way over.
Way over.
But thank you guys for watching all of the comments. Mark, we're going to shout you out because you have some things to do. We're waiting on your comedy special on Instagram. Wherever you're putting it, let us know. Nazim was here. Brenna, everybody that was here, thank you for participating. We love the comments and all the commentary. It makes the show lively, and then we go over like we did today. But it's okay. We're here with we're here having a conversation, so that's good. So we're gonna be here next week. Come back on Monday, Tuesday with me, Wednesday with Coach Karen, Thursday with Robin, I believe, and then Friday is gonna be us again, Tech Divas. And we might talk about Gail again on Friday. I don't know.
We don't know. We'll see.
Okay, so thank you guys for watching. We will see you later. Have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye. And I'm trying to get to the button.
Okay.